In About Us page, we've written spiritual-scientific understanding. If there's one thing that we wanted to enable everybody to see from a knowledge perspective, is this thing that we can understand today. Spiritual-scientific understanding. We understand these five, and we classify it into five statements. Because we're talking about practical application. So we start classifying that whole wisdom into five statements in a way that we feel we can accept them. So the spiritual scientific understanding must guide the way we govern our businesses, our offices, our employees, our communities. We heard them during this program, but it's good to put them together into a perspective back again. So let me share a few slides here. Where did that go? So this week, we'll understand what is the spiritual intelligence. And if we have time in this week, we understand purpose of life. Otherwise, we may spill over to the next week. Ultimately, spiritual quotient or spiritual intelligence must lead towards abundance, that there is infinity of resources in the way we live life here, because all conflict here is coming because of resources. We're competing for resources. We think there's a limitedness, so we compete. We move to a survival mode. Every company is competing with other one, thinking that there is less. So if you understand there is abundance, if you understand there are many ways that you can make your living, if you understand, since there is abundance, I need to try to go on saving, which again causes towards more and more greed, not knowing how much to save, how much to keep. But if you understand there is abundance, nothing to keep. I'm sure we all have crossed over. We all have crossed over in terms of our earning potential. When you move from one slab to another, then we stop thinking about expenses of certain level. We stop thinking about expense of certain level. In the beginning of the career, maybe when you're paying a phone bill, you're looking at counting money for the phone bill, because that's still a lot of money compared to what you may be earning. Maybe 20 years later, paying for phone bill, spending around that, all of that is become trivial. The potential is higher earning, and so it's become trivial. You don't really look at, okay, the day-to-day limited expense. Instead, you start paying attention to your flight tickets, how much you are paying. So when you reach a little higher level, then many expenses, many things become trivial. We don't bother about them. We don't try to save penny to penny there. So when we understand that there is abundance, so then we stop paying attention to it, we stop worrying about this and that, and then we start making conclusions. I have lessons, I have to earn more. All of that will go away. Yes, we only start looking at, okay, I'm able to pay for it or not. There's got to be abundance. There's got to be a feeling of abundance and the oneness. If this is the purpose of this whole spiritual intelligence is to move to the state of abundance, work and live the life as if we are all one. Abundance equal to infinity, aham brahmasmi state, and oneness equal to vasudhaika kutumbakam state. Only one family. There are two things. I'm going to skip this. So just to give the perspective, various quotients, passion to live life where our energy and physical health is there, we are passionate back again. If there is no enough health, then there's no sweetness of life. We don't feel like going back and living. We're just dropping many things that we want to do, but we can't do. We drop them. Meditation helps us to build it. Then it is helping us to grow our intelligence. So then we feel like taking on bigger things and bigger things and bigger things and experience them. It helps us to emotionally regulate emotional intelligence so that we know how to engage with others, engage with the environment, engage in a beautiful way to multiply our experience, emotional intelligence. We understood the manifestation, which is helping us to experience that unlimited. There is unlimited potential. So we experience that unlimited when we understand how do we use this weapon of thought, of feeling. Then we go on experiencing, and then what do you experience? And how do you make it meaningful? How do you make it satisfactory that you are actually, the time you're living is more meaningful, more purposeful, that the satisfaction is there. Happiness by equal to not necessarily satisfaction. That's different. We got to feel satisfied. It doesn't matter whether it is helping one person or a million people. We got to feel that satisfaction. It doesn't matter whether you helped or not, whether you have created something that feels great to you. You drew some beautiful painting, it feels great to you. So meaningful contribution, the meaning to your life and the contribution from there, if there is some. That's your spiritual quotient. And then meditation seems to help in this too, to understand and access bigger knowledge. So the spiritual quotient that we are here today in this week is the spiritual scientific understanding is that everybody is inside me, percept one, understanding one. I'm in everybody, I'm with everybody, I'm the whole. So I'm not really separate from each other. Second, I have unlimited potential inside me. Third, I'm creating my reality all the time by me. I'm creating my reality all the time by me. Fourth, there is abundance for everybody. There is abundance. I have unlimited potential, but you recognize that you do have the same. Abundance for everybody, and the abundance is there everywhere. And then fifth one, dear friends, is that there is this greater intelligence. There is intelligence out there which is constantly paying attention to help, constantly giving indications, messages, but there is something that is out there which is helping, which I can take help from. Many of these constructs exist in a material world. We just have to connect the dots to see that if something exists here, that must exist in the energy field, the field of invisibility. So if we understand these five, and then we apply them in our day-to-day automatically. So let's see the first one, dear friends. Everyone is inside me. From quantum physics, we understand we are less matter, more energy. We are less matter, more energy. We understand this. 99.99% emptiness, which is full of energy, only tiny matter. And in that field, because by default, everything is energy, even the electrons are energy. So we're all connected with each other. That single big, large field, one large field. So in that one large field, me and you are there. So I'm influencing you, you are influencing me all the time. My thoughts are reflected to you, your thoughts are reflecting onto me. That's why it is that observer and observed effect. That's why we are able to convince, put our points to somebody, because we're all very connected, so it's happening. We say something, somebody gets convinced. And they say something, we get convinced. And we feel good, convinced, that we take information from each other. So when there is this understanding that we're all connected, that we exchange information all the time, this understanding, of course, is leading us to decide that we're not really separate. What is that we are naturally able to see in a family situation, in a close friend circle, where we tend to feel that oneness, we start feeling and we start recognizing that we really are one. So when this feeling is there, when the understanding is that we're all one, then there is only cooperation. We share freely. We tend to help others freely, easily, because that is me, that's not outside of me. That understanding that I can succeed, others can succeed. That's not outside of me. Ultimately, they all lead to the same, that when we are all one and when we have that feeling, then nothing is outside of me. And so what am I competing with? What am I trying to differentiate with? The second percept that gives us understanding is that the quantum field has infinite possibilities. I am one connected, and then that connectedness has got all these trillions of electrons, neutrons, protons, which are energy particles by default become matter with observation. So that energy particles are there as energy. They're there everywhere until they're experienced physically somewhere. And so they're everywhere. And any combination of that can be taken. They can collapse themselves anywhere. And so there is infinite possibility. And they're all, when they come together, collapsed into a physicality, then it becomes an experience. And so then we recognize that I am this unlimited potential. I have unlimited potential inside me. We recognize this. So when you recognize this, then we move away from comfort zone. We become more open. We keep trying new things because the potential is there. If I have 10 parks in my area, I will keep trying different things. When I know that there are 10 parks, I'll keep trying different things. It's natural. That's as natural as it can become. There are 10 parks, I'll keep trying different things. Everything can give me a new experience. And when we understand it, we keep trying different things. So we move when you know that there is unlimited potential, then we don't have to limit ourselves to a single experience and we become more open. We want to try many new things. Fixed mind to creative mind. Meditation helps us to move and to go and then explore. We recognize this knowledge, meditation helping us to explore because it is detaching from a past experience which we seem to latch on to. Fixed mind to creative mind. We become a lot more creative. That means we move towards more and more higher happiness because we know that every time new experience is there, then we're more happy. Creativity is to experience things differently or doing different things. I've done whole set of products and I want to go to a different field and work there. I do this thing that every day my son wants this curry. Okay, let me try doing it differently. The third thing, dear friends, is that our observation manifests the possibilities from the field of physicality. This is the basis that we've been saying from the beginning. We take ownership. The moment we understand it, the big practical application of it is that every experience of our life, we take ownership. We stop blaming others, somebody else. This is us. When we recognize that we have unlimited potential, then we feel that we are in control of our destiny. We have unlimited potential. There is any amount of things that I have unlimited energy, I have unlimited creativity, I have unlimited potential means what? It can be to apply to anything. Ability to connect with people. We are so empowered. And so then we are not worried if people are not helping us. We're not worried if whether something is going to happen or not, because we are self-empowered from inside when we have unlimited potential. But then when you recognize that it is happening by me, then you take ownership. Whatever that happens, you take ownership. It's by me. I've created it. I've drawn it. Everybody has a past. We recognize that there is a past of how I observed. And so that my present is based on my past. So everybody understands this. We recognize that, we come to that understanding. There is a hoary past for me. And so my present is that. So we take ownership. Because we have this bigger understanding that whatever is happening is through only observation, only through my intent, only by me asking. We ask and forget, and something comes to us and say, hey, this has come to me. I never asked for it. How did it come to me? God is not there. I was just so biased. Okay, why is this thing happening again? People are doing it to me. Not recognizing we are the ones we wished unconsciously before. People ask for a lot of growth without knowing the consequence of the growth. We ask for a lot of growth when we don't know the consequence of it, but we ask for it, it comes. Let's say the company grew suddenly, and then it's big time problem for the people who ask for it. They're not able to manage, stress comes, burn themselves out. But there's a consequence of asking for growth. At some point, we would imagine and wanting always to be in a big company, in a larger position, in a this one, that one. We ask for more money, and so we ask for larger position. And so money is there, and we want to enjoy, but the position also comes with a lot of responsibility and has a consequence. We don't look at the consequence of that thing, and so we don't look at the other side. There's a consequence. But some seem to be more intellect oriented. They look at it and say, okay, what do I really need? If I'm asking for money, I better have to really spend a lot more time this way because that's the kind of environment I'm going. And so then they're making right decisions. But then when we understand that my thoughts are creating my reality as a bigger picture understanding difference, then we move away from blame to ownership. That we recognize that there is my past has caused my present, and so I take ownership for it. It's not come through somebody else. I ask for it. The how of it is what has happened through somebody else. The how of it always has to happen through something or somebody. That's always there. How of it can be through somebody. Your boss may show up and say, I'm not giving you this. Or he may ask you at 5 o'clock in the morning and say, you must do this. It's not him or her. It's us we wanted to be in that position, which requires us to be meeting those demands for whatever reason. As we asked that, hey, I really want to experience what it feels like to be working at 5, somewhere unconsciously, somewhere situating. And so that shows up here. We got to go back and then recognize that this quantum physics is saying an observation manifests possibilities. So then anything physically showing up to us must have been observed by our consciousness somewhere, sometime, in some form. So then the fourth one, dear friends, is there is abundance. We move from lack consciousness to a prosperity, abundance consciousness, scarcity to abundance. If I have opportunity, I'm in this quantum field, and then others are also the same, others also the whole. So everybody has enough. There is abundance for everybody. So I have abundance of opportunity. You see, everything is only growing. Everybody seems to meet their needs if with meditation, we slowly understand that whatever I'm wishing for is coming. We don't seem to hurry up with meditation. When we come to that understanding, there's no need to hurry. That means we take the time out of the equation. And so then everything always seems to happen. We're not in a hurry. We're not in a hurry. Because that feeling of scarcity, the feeling of survival is gone. So we're not in a hurry. And so we're not in a hurry. That means you took the time out of the equation. And so then you start seeing everything that you wish is coming. If not today, it's coming tomorrow. So we develop this sense of abundance that, like, when we heard the experience of Kavya, and say, now I know that I can create anything. Then you get a sense of peace. You don't have to compete and race against somebody because the thing is coming from, I can create anything because there's unlimited potential in terms of field. So what am I to then dominate? What am I to compete for? Why should I manipulate people? Why should I manipulate in my business numbers differently to say that I'm not more superior or I'm not more higher to for what? That greed is driving us to do it. The greed is saying that it's not enough, so I have to go on and accumulating more. And so we start manipulating our company numbers, manipulating others, manipulating situations, many things. It all comes from scarcity thinking. But then if we have this fundamental understanding that what I wish for is manifesting, what I wish for is always creation because there's infinity. I want to become a CEO. It's not one CEO position. Company will get divided into 5 divisions. So there's only 5 CEOs. They may spin up and say you go and then asked to go and then become a CEO. They may acquire a small company. You may be asked to go and become a CEO. There are so many possibilities to your friends. Rather than thinking there's only one position, so I have to compete. But we look for what experience do I need from it. CEO is equal to certain experiences. Look for experiences. And then experiences can be fulfilled at any different time, a different space. We have to have that understanding that the time and space, that eternality, I'm looking for that experience is all we can have. And then is it next year? Is it 2 years from now? Is it in my company, is it another company? Is it with my group of family members, that experience I'm having? Or is it with anybody? What is that experience I'm seeking? And then as long as we're clear about it, then we recognize that there is no scarcity because that keeps coming to us. And then as long as we keep and then we understand time and space, it can happen anywhere, it can happen anytime. So this first step, when we understand there is abundance, there is enough for everybody. Basically, there's enough for everybody. Then we stop competing, we start cooperating. We don't become desperate. We inspire ourselves through other success. We don't feel we don't feel the despair. We're not despair because others have been successful. We don't feel low and sad, and then when others are successful. Instead, we see, oh, their success means that's inspiration to me that I too can create it because I too can have it. A lack consciousness and abundant consciousness. When others are successful, we feel that a success is mine, so I'm inspired to do more. That's the kind of emotion that we move into. Because that possibility, somebody demonstrated that possibility. So if we are a large company, a startup comes and says something, it demonstrates the possibility. A large company with the right management do not feel worried about it and said, oh, if they could create it, we can do it. They also do it. But the same mentality must exist with another large company. Or they're able to do, then we say, well, that's a possibility, so we can do a possibility too. That's how we think. A management which is survival oriented is trying to see how to take away the best from the other. How do I grab the best people so that I can create it? That's the only way they think. That's scarcity thinking. So the last point, dear friends, is that there is always some intelligence that is there. We make our decisions through our heart, meaning our gut feeling, our intuition. We know it. There is an intuition which is giving us intuition coming from inside, which is drawing upon there is infinite area of experience that and knowledge that is there. Our internet is like that. It's got so much information and we draw from it. We draw from it. So when a greater intelligence is, which is paying its attention through its, the synchronicities, the coincidences, the intuition, the gut feeling, that is basically your emotion. And all of this is telling us the right thing to do, or what could be at any given time, what may be giving you more happiness, that we know it. But from a quantum physics perspective, if you understand it, this quantum field is intelligent field. Otherwise, that field, which is a whole from which each of us came, where we are part of it, how intelligent is this body? How intelligent is body? How intelligently this whole cosmos or these planets are being managed? What is doing them? Who created it? What is doing that? Without a planet crashing into another planet, star crashing into another star, where how is the life so perfectly happening and seemingly with balance? What is creating it? There is this intelligence. Then we understand this quantum field has some intelligence in it. Something is causing that energy to become mass. Something is there is some intelligence, and but because that order is there, that whole nature that comes out of this quantum field, there is some order. Something is managing it so perfectly, so beautifully. There's got to be some intelligence. We went through this. So the field that all exists ever, then quantum field is intelligent. So then we understand it. Then I say, can I take help? Just like our mentors, just like the seniors who have more experience. They seem to have that experience of everybody and everything. So we take help from it. We recognize when we operate in each and every leader, each and every one of us, when you operate from that thing that I'm not alone. There is some intelligence. I can ask for help. But ask for help is your intention. You ask for help. And so that it seems to reciprocate back. I need more clarity. We seem to get a message. I'm looking to help this section, seem to get a message. One of the participants recently in this program, that I seek to see how I can help a lot of people in low middle class, low income section of people. How do I help them? For interiors. She has passion for interiors, and she wanted to help because she always thought that architects charge a lot of money, and so then how do they set up their interiors has never been great, so they try to do by themselves, and it doesn't always come right. Some thought is that she has a passion more to the cause. And so in a meditation, that clarity came to her and say, do this thing. She got a beautiful idea. That's clarity. There is always help, there is always insight that is coming from this field, no matter what, whether it's a problem, whether it is an experience that we seek, whether intelligence is coming. We move from mind to heart. Rather than saying, I know it all, it can only be me, I'm doing it. Then here, in a heart-based model, we're becoming an instrument to take as much help from that thing that seems to know, and then we operate in that model. If we have a great mentor, we follow the mentor. The mentor is giving us advice when you ask. If they don't ask, a right mentor is not just like they're giving you advice. The right mentor is waiting to see only when they really need to intervene, they will intervene. Otherwise, they are, as long as things are going okay, so they're not going to come and intervene. But then when the mentors tell us, then if you are truly somebody is a mentor, then you take that and then you follow it. Then it'll give you greater experience. They tell you, hey, go and do this. You follow that. They give you greater experience because they experienced it. They know that's greater for you, it's good for you. They can see much ahead and then much before. And so they're able to tell you right thing based on where you are, exactly what this higher intelligence is. It knows infinity of future, infinity of past. So then, because there's no time and space. And so it seemed to predict beautifully for everybody right thing, if we know it, that we take acceptance from it. So different. So meditation develops that model. We move from mind to heart. So these 5 percepts, when we have them, we are changing. In each of them, meditation is helping us experience. We experience that wholeness. So separateness is gone. Meditation, as it's helping us to build that into the body is changing structurally, so it helps us to learn new things. And then since our thoughts become things, so we start seeing that, yes, it is possible. We see many different visions in our meditations. And then here our thoughts becoming true, and it removes our, on one side, it removes our fears of survival. And so then we start becoming more risk-taking, we become more creative. Meditation, of course, helps us to understand that who do I blame? Blaming others is blaming myself. At some point, that's what we understand. We take ownership because we are truly a creator. Blaming others means we become helpless. We become helpless. Do you want to be a victim? Do you want to be somebody who has control of their lives? It is really that. Just give the power away to somebody else. Meditation gives the strength to experiment. When you experiment, then we start recognizing it. It gives us the strength to own, and so that it makes us empowered to fix a situation. When the problems come, it gives us strength to own it, so we are able to then fix the situation and then move to greater happiness, rather than blaming and getting stuck there. It helps us to become from scarcity, from a lack consciousness to a prosperity or abundance consciousness. And so we stop competing, we start cooperating. We want to help others by default. When scarcity is there, we want to take from everybody. When abundance is there, we give, we unconditionally give, we don't care. Enough is there. So then what's the worry about? And it's moving us to more heart-centric decisions, dear friends. So a person will change, an entity will change, a group will change. We know now that meditation, making us one, means a family becomes one. Before they were separate, they are dysfunctional families. Organization dysfunctional. That means they're fighting with each other, not aligning. But then now there seem to be differences exist, but they seem to align together. They respect the differences. Agree to disagree is happening quite a bit in families. Agree to disagree. In the duality, me as me wanting to experience my own self, I'm different than you. In a way, the work is getting done, but then I want to do one way, you want to do another way, but then I respect. Okay, I respect your boundary. You do it, and then you come back. That's all. The respect the boundaries. And so then you continue to stay in that oneness. You stay together, but you respect boundaries. That's all required. And so organizations have become one. Organizations become more creative. The groups become more creative. So thank you very much, dear friends. We're understanding spiritual intelligence, spiritual scientific understanding. And every organization, every leader will have these 5 understandings. And then when they have this, the regular practice and reading, then we'll have a beautiful planet established pretty soon. It's got to happen because our companies will thrive that way. These 5 understandings we want to introduce into the governments. This must happen. It'll happen through MP Singhalji. It'll happen through many officials. But we take this, and it must be there in every company. Yes, Rathanvel?